gentlemen, it's your host Scott Knight
Don Cheese.
and welcome back to the second episode of the 413 podcast. That was such an awkward intro. We've probably got to find a better intro to do, but that was awkward. So how you been, Doncho?
I've been A-okay.
Is that
I've been
part of
good,
the
I've been
secret
good.
theme? Just hints for later on, just like,
The villain. Well, I'm the villain from last episode because you're yet to beat me in a game of Yu-Gi-Oh!
Yes, as I said last episode, yes, he whipped my ass in pretty much 10 minutes after, we ended the podcast. He literally just went.
See, now what you don't know is that we actually had to re-record this, and last time he whooped my ass, so I got to get back at him for it. So
yeah,
this is like this decider sort of thing.
Yeah, we recorded one a couple of days ago. We recorded the second episode a couple of days ago, and it did not go to plan. And I mean, a lot of stuff went wrong.
All the way through.
like computer issues, recording issues. Then I had an issue where someone knocked at my door, and I was just like, "Oh, who's knocking at my door?"
Get away!
No, it ended up being the postman.
Oh.
I was like, I was looking out the window. I was like, why is the postman knocking at my door? And he was like, mail. And I was like, I am a male, yes. Dad humour. Dad humour.
I appreciate the dad jokes. Also, have you noticed we've got matching themes today? Black and black. This was not coordinated, by the way.
No.
This was not coordinated.
This was not planned. This was just we set a time today. We literally just started. We just got online with each other, and literally we looked at each other and went, "Ah."
We sort of sat here looking at each other for 2 minutes. We're like, you know.
It's like
I know.
it's like when you go to a party and it's like, wear a costume, and you go to the party and you turn up and you look next to you and you're like, someone's wearing the identical outfit, and you look at each other just like.
Doesn't that remind you of that meme of when girls see each other with the same clothes, they start fighting each other. When guys see each other with the same clothes, they just become best bros.
Yeah. No, there was once, right, that I went to a friend's and we were going to meet up with people, and we were supposed to wear really nice clothes. So I wore a nice pair of trainers, nice outfit. I get there and I look, half the people there are wearing pretty much identical outfit to me.
Cool.
And I look at them and I'm like, what? I'm just like, how's this happened? But the only difference, right, was we're wearing the same, because I wear jogging bottoms because they're very comfortable.
Yeah, they're so comfortable.
All wearing this.
I'm right now.
I'm wearing Nike, grey Nike ones, but so we all came in the same. The only difference was our shoes. They were wearing Puma. They were wearing Adidas. No, I'm wearing a £150 pair of Nikes. I'm rocking in. It was Air Force.
Got that drip.
It was Air Force Special Force Edition Nikes that I got.
Special Force.
They are really nice, and I mean they are nice. And I'm not a big shoe collector, but I had to get a really nice pair of Nikes.
Yeah, I sinned because I had a pair of Jordans and I managed to ruin them within a month.
I know. I was there with the first day he got them. He was like, "Look what I got." I was like, "Oh, they're nice." A month later, they were literally tattered, and I was like, "You do realize, right? You just ruined a pair of Jordans, right?" I would literally I'd lose my mind if I broke a pair of Jordans. I'd lose it. I don't think was your mum okay with what happened with your Jordans, or did she be a bit?
I mean, I don't think she'd even notice. But it was a while ago, though. It was a few years back now. Wow.
That was 2018, I think.
Wow.
I know, time does go when you think about it.
I'm 18 years old then.
And now we're in our 20s and we feel old.
Yeah. Okay. On that note, I think we should carry on with our door.
But just before we start, prove how old I was, right? I was talking to my nephew, and he was talking about games, and he was talking about Fortnite. Fortnite. And he goes, "Oh, I did this," and I was like, "I don't know what it is because I don't play Fortnite." And he called me a boomer.
Yeah, you boomer.
And I was just like,
boomer.
I'm just like, do you know what that means? He's like, yes.
Are we Gen X or are we Gen Z or millennials? I can't remember which generation we are.
I cannot remember for the life of me. Because
if anyone knows, comment down below which if we're born in 1999, which generation would that be?
Yes.
Please do.
It finds out that we're millennials.
Millennials.
Yeah.
Millennials. You mean?
Yes. I was at work last night until 11.
Yeah. We'll cut you some slack.
We'll cut me some slack today. Just like, you gotta... Right. Yeah. As we promised, we'll play a short game.
Before we start properly, make sure you like the video, comment down below, and subscribe to our channel. Ring that bell, and make sure to follow us on our TikToks and our social media and our Instagram page, which we'll plug in the description below.
Yes, it is recently gone live, and there you'll find at the moment we've got well, we can't really say that. By the time this video goes up, there'll be some hints for the next podcast and what's going on in the next podcast. But
yeah,
if you hadn't, by the time this is up, you would have, or I don't even know what I'm saying anymore.
Make sure to follow us on there, just so you can see any teasers that we have for our next podcast, and so you can suggest more topics for us to do as well.
And we might hopefully in the next coming weeks, we'll actually be in the same room.
Maybe so. Wow.
Oh,
also, for our next 2 podcasts, we have 2 guests.
Ooh.
So make sure to tune in to find out who they are, because we're not going to reveal them yet.
No, we're not like every other podcast that like a week before the podcast is out, it's like, we've got this guest. I'm like, what's the point? Like, literally, I don't see the point.
We're guessing.
We're all super villains here. We're all like super villains. We just like to mess around. But right. So we're going to play a game of Yu-Gi-Oh! So our life points are going to be set at 4,000. So it's going to be a short game. It'll last around 5-10 minutes if we're good like we were last time. He's smoking a cigarette.
Yeah.
Right, we getting on with this?
It's a bad habit.
Yes, right, ladies and gentlemen, don't follow our pattern of smoking. It's not good for you.
Yeah, don't smoke. It's
bad for you.
See, it's quite funny how parents teach you not to smoke, really. Because, see, maybe not for you, because your dad doesn't smoke right now. But my dad's not like my biological dad. Well, first time what he did is he was smoking his fag like this. Wait, my fag's gone out. It's a perform. Okay, so smoking a fag like this. Then, boy, if I ever catch you smoking, I'm gonna beat your ass.
I love that about parents. It's like when you say, like, they'll sit there and it's about alcohol. Like, you see your parents sitting there and they have like a beer can and they're like, look, if I ever catch you, they'll burp and be like, drinking, I'll beat your ass. And you're like, but you're drinking in front of me.
Shotguns the fucking can.
Just like, I love that. It's like when I go out, I see because where I work, like you see, like in the town that I work in, like parents run like with their kids, and the parents like, don't do what that man does, and a man's sitting there on the street, and he's just sitting there like drinking like an orange juice, like carton, and then the kid starts laughing at him, and you're like, that's not a great example for a parent to set.
Yeah. Do you know that in Russia they actually have they serve like vodka in juice boxes.
I heard about that. Apparently, it.
I think they sell them here now as well.
Yeah, they a lot of stuff's coming over from Russia at the moment. A lot of it.
You see, this young kid's like, there's a juice box for lunch. End up getting the wrong juice box. That's nice.
10 minutes later,
An hour
they're
later,
they're just dancing.
Right,
right. Who's going first? You or me?
Well, bottom card decides. So it will be zero attack points.
3,000. So I will go first.
So go first.
I will draw 6 cards. Okay, drawn 6 cards.
Yeah, for those of you who don't know how to play, for start, each player draws 5 cards. The first one draws the first one, and every time you have a turn, you draw. And we'll explain as we go.
Okay, so I'm going to play Sword Revealing Light. So what that does is basically, so Doncha can't attack me for 3 turns. Then I'm going to place 3 spell or traps face down on the field. And I'll end my turn.
Okay, I draw a card. This is interesting. So you have spell trap cards with no monsters, yeah?
Yep.
Okay, well, I will set a monster and 2 face downs, and I will end my turn for now.
Okay, I draw a card. I play Golden Sarcophagus. What this allows me to do is choose 1 card from my deck. I can look in my deck, choose 1 card that I want. So I can choose any card that I want from my deck. Okay, I choose 1 card. I have to tell Doncho the card because that's part of the rules. And it is Magic Cylinder. What this card does is when he attacks me, if I play this card, it basically sends the attack back to him and it will attack him directly.
Yeah.
I will shuffle my cards again. So I don't know where it is because I've had to look at my deck.
You have to reshuffle every time you do that.
Yep, and I'll end my turn. So I've got 2 more. I have 2 more goes with Swords Revealing Light.
Okay, I draw a card. Okay. I will do something very interesting right now. Okay. I flip my monster into attack mode.
Mm-hmm.
Then I play Fusion Substitute.
Okay.
To fuse Black Metal Dragon.
Mm-hmm.
And my Red Eyes Archfiend of Lightning. Summon to the field Archfiend Black Skull Dragon. Then I will use Fusion Recovery. What Fusion Recovery does is it allows me to target 1 polymerization card in my graveyard and 1 fusion material monster and bring them back to my hand. And I will choose Fusion Substitute as it is treated as polymerization at all times, and my Archfiend of Lightning. Add that to my hand. Then I will play again Fusion Substitute to fuse both my Time Wizard and my Red Eyes Archfiend of Lightning to summon to the field First of the Dragons.
Okay, so you pretty much summoned the whole of your field, pretty much. Oh, that sound.
Okay.
Have you finished?
And I will have to end my turn.
Okay. I draw another card. I'll place that face down on the field, and I will end my turn.
Okay. I draw a card. I activate Museum of White, which is a field spell. I will get to what it does later on when I'm using it. Okay. So with Archfiend Black Skull Dragon, I will use his effect. So once per turn, if this card battles your opponent's card.
Well, the thing is, though, remember you can't attack.
Yeah, I can't even attack because I'm not battling your card. And you don't have any monsters in the field, do you?
Nope, and Sword Revealing Light is playing as well.
That is okay. I will end my turn.
Okay, it's my turn now. It's been 2 turns, so Magic Cylinder comes back to my hand, and Sword's Revealing Light is now gone. So now he can attack me. But he will not be able to because I activate a spell card that I placed down earlier, which is Sword Revealing Light.
Okay, so I just can't attack full stop.
Yeah, you can't attack for another 3 turns. Now that was a miracle shot. So, trying to think what I should do with my deck. Not my deck, my hand. What am I saying? Deck? Oh, I am that tired. So it's just like one of the things where it's just like, oh, what shall I do? When I nod my head, yes.
What do you mean?
Okay, I'm gonna place a card face down in the spell trap zone, and I'll end my turn. So,
okay, I draw a card. Okay, I play Silent Doom. See, this is a spell card, and what it does, I can target one normal monster in my graveyard and special summon it face-up defense position, but it cannot attack. And what monster will that be? It will be my Red Eyes Archfiend of Lightning. Now, you might think that's an effect monster. However, because of his effect, he is treated as a normal monster while he's on the field or in the graveyard. So he is back on the field in defense. And as you have Swords of Revealing Light on the field and no monsters, I will end my turn.
Okay, I will draw a card. Oh, okay. Now I'm going to play Blade Knight in attack mode.
Hey.
Then I'll activate my trap card, Universal Adapter.
And what does that do?
So Universal Adapter is I can choose one card on my opponent's field, which is the highest attack rated card, and which is on your side. What is your highest attack rated?
It is Archfiend Black Skull Dragon, which is 3,200 attack points.
Okay, so all the monster cards on the field become that attack. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use Blade Knight to attack your Archfiend.
Okay, they will be both destroyed.
Yep. Was that an attack mode?
Yep.
But we'd take no damage because it was exactly the same attack rate.
Yes.
And I will end my turn.
I draw a card. This card isn't meant to be in this deck, however, it might be kind of useful. I set a monster face down, and I will end my turn as Sword of Revealing Light is still on.
Okay. I will draw a card. And I will play Pot of Greed. So what Pot of Greed does, it allows me to draw 2 extra cards from my deck. So I draw 2. Okay. Then I will play Monster Reincarnation, which allows me to bring back 1 monster from my grave to my hand.
And discard 1 card.
Yep. In which I do. And I will play the card Blade Knight in attack mode. Then I'll activate my trap card that I had on the field, Rise in Energy, which I discard 1 card, in which I will do that. I'll discard this card from my hand. And Blade Knight gains an extra 1,500 attack until the end of this turn. So he's on 3,100.
Okay.
What monsters do you have on the field?
At the moment, I have my Red Eyes Archfiend of Lightning in defense, a set monster, and First of the Dragons in attack mode. First of the Dragons is 2,700 attack points, and my Archfiend is 1,200 defense.
I will attack your first of your dragon.
Okay, what was the attack points?
3,100.
Okay. Well, my first of the dragon's effect activates when this card battles to the monster that is not a normal monster. It is not destroyed. It can only be destroyed by normal monsters and is unaffected by monster effects. So,
Well,
I will still lose the life points. So, the difference between that is 3,400.
because
No,
mine's
1,000.
3,000. Mine's 3,100.
So that's 400 life points that I lose.
Correct, but you just said it can't be destroyed unless it's a normal monster.
Yes.
Well,
Blade
Knight is a normal monster.
It is not. It's an effect monster.
But it's not used. I'm not using its effect.
It is still an effect monster.
That's fine. So you still lose 1,000. No, you still lose 400. So you're down to 3,600.
3,600. Yes.
And I'll end my turn, but I can't put him in defense, but I just have to end my turn.
Okay. I draw a card. Okay. Swords of Revealing Light is still on.
Just one more go. So once you finish your turn, it's the end of Sword of Revealing Light.
I will use Red Eye's Archfiend of Lightning's effect. Second effect. Once per turn, I can destroy all face-up monsters your opponent controls with defense lower than this card's attack, which is 25,000 attack points. 2,500 even, sorry.
Okay.
So your Blade Knight will be destroyed.
That's absolutely fine. And that's the end.
End my turn.
Okay, I draw a card. That is fine. Sword of Revealing Light is now gone.
Yeah.
I will end my turn.
I draw a card. Okay. I play Foolish Burial. So what this spell card does is allows me to send one monster from the deck to my graveyard. And I will choose from my deck the Great, one of my favorite cards, Red Eye's Black Dragon. Now, you might think that might be a little bit counterproductive. Why do I send such a powerful card in the graveyard? Well, it's all calculated.
Yeah, he is definitely an evil mastermind. He's sitting there just like, I will win this game.
And this is what I mean. I play Symbol of Duty. What that does is allows me to sacrifice one normal monster I control from my field, Red Eye's Archfiend of Lightning, which is treated as a normal monster, and allows me to special summon one monster from either player's graveyard and equip this card to it. And guess what monster that will be?
Red Eyes Black Dragon. Oh, no, it's Archfiend. Okay.
It'll be Archfiend Black Skull Dragon. And now you don't have your Swords of Revealing Light on, do you?
No.
Okay. Well, I will use. I think I'll end my turn because I kind of just remembered. You have magical cylinders as a face down, don't you? Maybe so, maybe so.
Maybe. Okay. I will draw a card.
I would have to end my turn for now.
Okay, I've drawn a card. And I'm going to end my turn.
Okay, I draw a card. Do you have any monsters on the field?
No monsters on the field.
Okay, I play Magna Drago in attack mode.
Okay.
By the way, for those of you who haven't noticed, I'm using my dragon deck. I will have to end my turn.
Okay, I will draw a card. I will place a card face down in the spell or trap zone, and I'll end my turn.
Okay, I draw again. Okay. I sacrifice my set monster and my Magna Drago to special summon, to tribute summon to the field, Pyrotech Mech Shiryu, which is a pyro type. And I will now switch both my Archfiend Black Skull Dragon and first of the dragons in defense, and I will attack you directly with my Pyrotech Mech Shiryu.
You will not, because I'll activate Mirror Force.
That is okay. That is exactly what I thought you might do.
Which it does is destroys. It destroys all attack
on
monsters on the field.
on my side. Yeah, there we go. So my power attack makes sure you gets destroyed. And I will now end my turn.
Okay, I draw a card.
See, we've played so many duels with each other so far. We know which cards we possibly use.
Yeah, we do, and that's what gets annoying, is that we know each other so well.
We can predict each other's moves.
Yes, we can predict each other's moves. I'm just trying to think. What should I do? What should I do? What should I do? Okay.
See, a lot of people think Yu-Gi-Oh is quite a childish game, but it gets you thinking.
Yeah, it does, because you have to especially sit there and think about what's going on. And
very strategy based.
I'm going to play Gearfried the Iron Knight in defense mode.
Okay.
And I'll end my turn.
I draw a card. I set a monster. Then I turn both my Archfiend Black Dragon and my Black Skull Dragon and my first of the dragons into attack mode. Then, with my Archfiend Black Skull Dragon, I will attack your Gearfried, the Iron Knight. However, I will use my Archfiend Black Skull Dragon's effect once per turn. If this card battles your opponent's card, and opponent's cards and effects cannot be activated until the end of the damage step. So you can't activate any trap cards in response to my attack. So your Gearfried is destroyed.
Yeah.
Then, I will end my battle phase, and my second effect of my Archfiend Black Skull Dragon activates. At the end of the battle phase, if I control one Red Eyes monster in my graveyard, I can inflict battle damage equal to the attack points of that monster and shuffle it back into my deck. And if you remember what monster I sent to my graveyard a few turns back, a Red Eyes Black Dragon.
And its attack's 2,800.
2,400 even.
2,400. So I go down to 1,600.
Yes, sir. And I will end my turn as I shuffle my deck.
Okay. I draw a card. Okay. I will end my turn.
Okay. I draw. I set one more monster again. Discard battle. I think I can end this now. But, right. With my first of the dragons, I will attack you directly.
No, you won't. I'll activate Magic Cylinder.
And I will lose 2,500 life points. So I am on 1,100.
Mm-hmm.
And now I will attack you directly with my Archfiend Black Skull Dragon.
And it's game over.
Right. Let's go. Let's go. And it is now game over.
You know what? I like when people sit there saying, "Oh, how can you take losing? How can you deal with it?" And I sit there saying, "You know what? It's not for competition. It's a bit of fun.
Losing.
But it's a bit of fun. Like, end of the day, it's just a bit of fun.
It's fun. Plus, any loss you take is a
experience learned. Mm-hmm. So that was the game, ladies and gentlemen.
To be fair, you have to treat life the same.
True.
Yeah. I was saying you have to treat life the same. Any loss you take, you got to treat it as a lesson and move on.
Sorry about the interruption. It's just the internet was slightly just saying unstable internet connection. Sorry about that.
Cool.
Right. Now we move on to what was teased on Instagram.
Well, before we do that, let me ask you, what was the first time you remember playing Yu-Gi-Oh?
Well, the first time I played Yu-Gi-Oh it was when I was 6. That's the first time I played
And how did
Yu-Gi-Oh.
that go? And how did that go?
We didn't know the rules, so we played it horribly. And I mean,
Yeah.
like, we played it, like, really badly. We were just like, no, I summon this monster. No, I summon this. And it'd be monsters that, like, when you think about it, you have to, like, sacrifice other monsters to summon to them. We just summon these monsters. And it got to the point, like, when we started watching the TV series, we were like, because the TV series is completely different from the rules.
Yeah. It was like, there's like the first episodes where you don't have to tribute monsters.
Yeah, like, in the first 3 seasons, like, you didn't have to tribute any monsters to, like, Dark Magician would be like, oh, I can just summon him. And it'd be like, okay. So as kids, you'd be like, oh, if you have a Dark Magician, but I summon it. And then as you've grown older, you know the rules. And you're like, I have to tribute 2 monsters to bring him to the field.
Do you know what's quite funny, actually? The first time we played Yu-Gi-Oh! Because, well, we were in Bulgaria. I didn't quite speak English back then, so I couldn't really read the facts of the cards. So, or what the cards did. So what we did is we actually played it like top trumps. We'd have like a deck in our hands, and we kind of just flip a card, and then the next one someone flips a card, and the higher attack points wins. But
Fun.
it was fun memories because after that I actually started watching the show. It was the first ever anime I've watched.
Same here. That was the first anime I ever watched.
Yeah.
Like, being honest, right? When I was a kid, I grew up watching like Yu-Gi-Oh! And Pokemon, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But what's funny?
I would go a lot.
But what was funny was it weren't until I was about 16, because I had never heard of anime. I that's a lie. I heard of it, but I didn't know what it was. But I heard like apparently it was a big conversation for people, and I was like, okay. And when I was 16, it was you that told me you told me what it was, because I was sitting there and I was like, you're like, have you watched any anime? I was like, no. It was like, when I was a kid, all I watched was Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh! And you went, you do realize, right, they were animes. And I was like, wait, what? And you looked at me like I was I lost my brain. I was like, they're animes? Like, yes, they're Japanese. I was like, oh, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. It's quite interesting to see like how a lot of like Western media is influenced by anime, actually, because a lot of cartoons are.
It is.
Look at Avatar: The Last Airbender. That's not Japanese, but you can see it's heavily
inspired
by anime.
It's like one of my like. There's a film that I would recommend anyone to watch. It's an all-time classic. It's called Akira.
Yeah.
I would recommend, if you're not into like anime, I would still watch it. It is such a good film.
Also, any Studio Ghibli films, I would highly recommend.
Not my cup of tea personally. Like, I don't really like it. My ex-partner tried to make me watch it, and it didn't go too well. I didn't really like watching it. It was not like I watched Howl's Moving Castle, but like she tried to get me to watch like Spirited Away and like My Neighbor Totoro. Yeah, I found I'm like nothing against it, but personally, it's not my like taste in films. Like I like my films to be high action and stuff like that.
Just as an artist, I like from a kid, I used to like really enjoy the art styles of Studio Ghibli like movies, because they're so like vibrant and like
I will give I'll give that to them. I will 100% give that to them. Like the artwork on it, the artwork's just like, it makes you feel like, when I sat and watched Hamilton's Castle, and I was like, geez, this must have taken them effort to do. Like
you can see the effort that's gone into it.
Like
definitely.
all the color and all the anime, and I'm like sitting there thinking, Jesus Christ! I'm sitting there thinking,
especially when you consider that all of that back then was all hand drawn.
Oh man. But yes, so I personally would recommend Akira. People like as I said, Akira is an anime. I would 100% watch it. It has got one of the best storyline. It's a long film. I'm not gonna lie. I've sat and watched it. It is a god long film, but It's one of my most favorite films.
Worth the while. Worth the while.
It is 100% worth the while. We'll leave a link in the description with everything else. It's just a link to Amazon, in which you can find the DVD to watch or buy.
Yeah.
So, on the topic of Yu-Gi-Oh,
into our next.
yes, it does.
Topic. Does it
So,
not?
Mr. Andov.
Yes.
Manga.
Mr. Frost. No. Right.
Manga.
Well, let's see. The first time I managed to remember like reading manga wasn't actually that young because when I was in Bulgaria I didn't really have like access to a lot of bookstores like manga stores because the local staff didn't sell manga because it wasn't that popular back then. And I was reading it online mostly. And tell you what, one of my favorite manga series, if you guys know it, make sure to comment down below if you like it or not, and make sure to comment down your favorite series. It was Kenichi's World's Greatest Disciple. That is an amazing series because it's got so much character development, so much plot.
Yeah, the key term, plot.
No, yeah, but it's got loads of character development, loads of lessons. It's actually very like, I'm not going to say dynamic again. It's action packed as well because it's a martial arts anime. It tells the story of a young kid that joins a high school that is bullied all the time and can't really stand up for himself. But one day, he manages to meet this girl that is a martial arts expert sort of thing. And she teaches him some martial arts, and he ends up standing up for his bully. And without revealing too much, he ended up beating the first person, and everyone at the school then decided, let's have a piece of that because I want to beat him. So that girl actually turned out to be the daughter of a really, really strong worldwide known martial arts master. and he and his crew ended up training him, and I'll let you find out for yourself what goes on next in the story because it's very, very, very interesting. And
that sounds like something that I might like. That sounds something that I might read.
Yeah, it's very, very interesting. And fun. And the comedy is top notch. The drawings is top notch. The plot is top notch.
No, personally, myself, the first manga that I read was Attack on Titans. That was the first one I read.
Yeah.
Yes, I own it. I actually own it. So basically, I did not get into anime and manga like myself. It wasn't like I didn't go out looking for it. It was my ex-fiance. She basically was like, she was a massive anime fan. She is a massive manga fan. Like she loved it all. And she was saying to me, "Oh, you gotta read it and watch it. You like it." And I'm like, at the time, I was not very like, I didn't want to go like, I didn't want to read a new series and all that. And it got to a point where she was like, on my birthday, she got me Attack on Titan. So I was like, you know what? I'll give it a read. And I started reading it, and my God, I was horrified. I was legit horrified when I was reading it. Because I did not expect, like, at the time, I didn't know what Attack on Titans was. I didn't really know what it was. And then I read it, and I was, like, horrified. Then I watched the anime. I was more petrified when I watched the anime. I was just like, oh, like,
Attack on Titan is one of the animes that will kind of rip your heart out.
Yeah, I watched like the first season, and it literally made me like I felt really like I was just like. But
yeah.
no,
if you're looking for any animes like that, I would recommend Akame ga Kill. It will rip your heart out without spoiling anything. A lot of people die.
But then I stumbled across, because I was like, you know what, I want to find an anime that I find interesting, and what I came across, I watched the anime before I read the manga, and I was on Netflix, and I found a title called Sword Art Online.
I watched that when that first came out. It's such a good anime.
And
man,
I like
great.
the first season. I don't know. I can't remember. I think it's the first half of the first season where they're actually in the main story part. I loved a bit. I mean, the build up of the story, the character development, like the plot to it, all of it just made you feel like you like. I love that type of stuff.
Also, I need to mention the pacing for the anime. It was so well done because you have the character development, but it's not like that long that you just have to like be like, a lot of anime have like fillers or like training arcs, and then you're like, I'm kind of getting bored of this, but
it
it
takes
kind
you
of
a
just
while.
jumps into the like action.
Like Sword Art Online, like the first like 10 minutes, it's like okay, builds a bit of the story, and then like the whole first episode is like you're understanding the area, and then like like I'm gonna say what happens in the first episode because it's on the blurb of the manga, it's on like the description for. So they end up trapped in a virtual reality world where if you die in the virtual reality world, you die in real life scenario, and it's like a medieval fantasy role playing game, and it was so much fun to watch. Like so much fun. I enjoy it. It's like when I started watching it, like my mind was blown. Like at the time, I was thinking, how could they build such a good story within less than 15 episodes? I'm like, how could they build a story that good within that time period? It was, and every episode linked.
Yeah. I like that as well. I was saying, annoyingly enough, I saw that online is actually like the anime community's hated child, unfortunately, because of its like toxic fan base. Because everyone, it's a great anime, but it also has its flaws. And anytime anyone tries to mention any of the flaws, the fan base just tries to jump on them. Like, no, it's the best anime ever. It is great, but it also has everything else.
It's like everything has its faults. It's like nothing's perfect. Like the thing is that I gotta admit, like I'm a massive comic book nerd. I mean, I am one of the biggest comic book nerds you probably know. I've got a collection of comic books that I used to have a collection massive that it was just like took up half my room. But it's like the comic book industry. It's like personally, I'm a fan of both Marvel and DC. But the problem is, like when you say someone, "Oh, I'm a Marvel and a DC fan," most people be like, "No, I'm just a Marvel fan. No, I'm just a DC fan." And it's a big heated rivalry. Like, who's better? Quicksilver, the Flash, Superman, Captain America, like them differences between them, and it gets very toxic.
Batman.
It gets very toxic very quickly.
I just want to have peace, man. I just wanna enjoy the show, man.
you just wanna. It's like I got like for you get it. How was like when you got into reading manga? Did it make you feel like you actually like when you read like let's say you read like one of your first mangas when you started reading it? Did you feel a bit more relaxed and out of like normal life?
Yeah, well, to me, like watching anime, reading manga, and to be fair, gaming was kind of like an escapism sort of thing from life. Because it was obviously as a child, you don't really have that many worries, but at the same time, it kind of helped me like stay away from the world sort of thing, and it was great because you could like read about so many like different worlds and that have nothing to do with the real world, and you can use your imagination as well. So
100%. Like for me, comic books was my way out. Like when I was a kid, I had friends, but I didn't have too many, and most of the time, my friends weren't able to like hang out with me. So I know it's just a tear down the eye. But no, I got into reading comic books, and I loved it because when you're reading a comic book, like most people, when you're young, you're reading superhero comics, and that's what I read. But when you grow up, you start reading comic books that are not, well, they're not actually called comic books, they're graphic novels.
Graphic novels.
That's where a lot of the things come from. It's like when you say, oh, I read comic books. Oh, what comic book? Oh, I read Iron Man. No, that's actually a graphic novel. Well,
graphic novel.
It's a comic book. It's in the
It's
comic
another
book.
thing with the same thing with mangas. A lot of mangas are like, oh, it's a visual novel. It's not a manga.
The point
Let
is,
me
like,
enjoy.
yeah, it's just
Have
like
a good time.
it doesn't matter what I call it. I could call it a newspaper. It doesn't matter. It's something I read. At the end of the day, if I'm reading it, I'm reading it. And I've noticed that I'm not alone in this. That I've noticed that people on our Instagram are excited about our comic book section
Yeah.
and manga section. So we might make this precedent that why don't we now decide right now that each week we will review a comic book and a manga.
That would be interesting. Yeah.
That once
I
a
think that's
week,
an interesting idea.
that once a week we choose a certain comic book and manga, and you discuss about the manga because that's more of your area.
Whether you like, whether you not. Make sure to comment down below what you think about the idea.
Yeah,
Whether you like, if you don't. It's all useful feedback.
it is. It's all useful feedback. I love listening to the fans and listening to what they've got to say. And so what we're going to do in this section now is that we're going to do like a show and tell. So
Yeah.
we've both got a pile of our favorite comic books. I've got a pile of my pile of my favorite comic books, and Doncho has a pile, I should say, mounting of his favorite anime. Oh, anime! People are going to kill me for saying that. Favorite manga. My pile.
That's okay.
My pile is like. Oh, his camera's.
I just ruined my setup. Okay.
So this is my. This is only like this is only like a snippet of like I'm not going to show you these, but these are for later. Camera keeps falling. I've got some gems, some hidden gems from the 90s and 80s to show you.
Yeah.
So Doncho, why don't
these are like some mangas that I read from like high school, but secondary school, and whichever you prefer to call it. But if I'm being honest, this isn't like my whole collection. This is all in fact I'm at my parents' house. But at my uni house, my place, I actually have more of these mangas.
I've got loads of comic books around my the flat that I live. I've got loads of them, but unfortunately, because it's such a small flat, I've had to keep all my comic books in different places, in folders and wallets. But hopefully, I'll be able to get some shelving and I'll be able to display all my comic books out. So why don't we start, Doncho? Why don't we start with your manga?
Okay. Well, I'll save the best for last. Let me just rearrange.
Actually, I might do that with my comics. Rearrange from the best to last.
Okay. So, before I start a little bit, there's an anime that holds a special place in my heart.
Can I have a guess?
Go for it.
Is it Naruto?
Yes, it is. It's just one of my childhood favorites because I watched this. That was 9.
Literally, like when I was growing up, like you would hear stuff about you hear like the name Naruto and Dragon Ball Z.
Dragon Ball Z, One Piece,
like stuff like One Piece. One Piece I didn't hear until my ex-fiance. It's one of her favorite animes. I didn't hear that until her. And
funnily enough, One Piece was actually created before Naruto.
I know it. Like when I found out, it's like I've got the anime on DVD. I've got like the first season on DVD. I went and brought it because I was like, you know what, I want to watch it, and I actually enjoy. I've watched like probably like 6-7 episodes. I haven't watched any more because I've been busy, but it seems like a really good series.
Yeah. Well, now it's referred as the top, like the top of the top 3 animes. Like there's the what was it? Legendary 3 top. It's like God tier anime. It's like One Piece at first, then it's like okay, then there's like the battle between Naruto and Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah.
And then there's like Bleach in 3rd or 4th place.
So right, why don't you show the audience
At the moment, I've only got one volume from the Naruto series manga. Well, this is from Naruto Shippuden even, and it's the 67th volume. And I just wanted to show you like why I really like the manga as well, because all the panels are so action packed. Look, this is one double page of them.
Damn, it's great
Action
artwork.
Here, yeah, action here, action here, action here, action here, action here, action here, action here. Then you turn the page. Action here, action here, action here, action here. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
It's just so dynamic. It doesn't feel rushed because it moves the story so well. So it keeps you entertained. It keeps you wanting to read more and more and more and more and more. And I actually managed to read within like an hour, and I didn't realize. So I was just sitting there, just flicking through it, like, oh, next page. What happens next? What happens next? What happens next? And then I got to the last page, and I'm like, shit, I don't have any other. I don't have another one to read. But I actually managed to complete the series online though, which is as well.
So what we'll do is in the link below, we will have every comic book and manga we'll mention.
Let me just
sort out his camera, because the camera's
my awful setup.
Oh, don't worry, our setup's we're waiting for the pandemic to calm down, and once it does,
I'll be able to get my place. You'll be able to get your desk, and then we can
do it from there.
Yeah, there we go.
Okay.
Wait, does that?
It's fine. It's fine if it blocks the other side of the camera. It doesn't really matter because people are probably listening. And there
we go.
Just let us know, guys, what you think about our setups. Like, do you like the way that we're doing it on Zoom?
Yeah.
Like,
well, fortunately enough, I actually managed to move out of my kitchen.
You're able to move out of the kitchen and move into your luxe suite bedroom.
Yeah. So, fortunately enough, yeah. Make sure to let us know about our setups, what you think of it. Any recommendations you have for maybe equipment or anything that you might want us to use.
God, don't be saying that, because they'll be coming out with expensive cameras, and I'd be like, oh,
like,
the piggy bank for the 413 podcast is not a lot at the moment. At the moment, it is roughly at £30.
Well, if you guys subscribe and make sure you ring that bell and like our videos and watch it all the way through, you can actually help us out with getting more gear and actually making this podcast a lot better.
Yes.
For you to enjoy.
And leave down in the comment, say we want Spotify. If you say we want Spotify, let's say we get 50 comments saying we want Spotify, we will upload the podcast to Spotify.
Yeah.
So you don't have to look at this big beard and his small beard.
Yeah, my small beard.
You'll just listen to our voices
your ugly face.
Yeah, my completely ugly face with that I can't grow a moustache properly. Yeah, I know.
Okay.
But
let's carry on.
Yeah, so we'll move on to the next manga. Make sure I get that right.
Manga. Yeah. Okay. This is another one of my favorites. Well, this is like definitely a good read. Maggie. Actually, I was actually watching there's a spin-off from the Maggie series that I was watching today. Is Sinbad's Adventures, I think it was.
I've heard Sinbad's a very classic character.
It's on Netflix at the moment, and it's basically about it's about as it says, a Maggie, which is the sort of divine being or magician that gets where there's a certain number of one in the world, and what they do is they help kings in their like adventures.
Yeah.
Not adventures, in like running their countries. And what I like about this series is actually actually how funny it is. Because there's every few pages there's like a joke or a new window or something to just make you laugh, and I like it when a author sort of like you can see like the author's enjoying reading and making stories.
Like I like that. It's like with any book. Any book doesn't matter if it's manga, comic books, anything. So long as the author like can put a joke in and the author can laugh at the joke, it makes it worthwhile.
And another thing I like about this manga series is at the end there's always like a little snippet, like a short story of how the manga creator, like artist, actually came about. It and the let me just see. And I like it when they interact with the audience a lot as well.
I enjoy that. I love.
It makes you like notice that they're down to earth people. They're the same as us, obviously, but also it makes you appreciate their work more.
Yeah.
Like there's a ton of work that goes into these.
What pisses me off, right, is when people say like for comic books and manga and all that, they just say, "Oh, you're just reading a picture book," and you sit there thinking, "It's not a picture book. It's someone spent hours, and I mean hours, designing every single little bit of the book."
They would probably spend up to an hour just designing like the concept of one of the panels, and that's one panel in a. Let me just double check, in a 200 page manga. One panel would take
200 hours.
So a whole volume would take them like 200 hours just to design, just to think of, and that's without putting in all the extra artwork.
But the thing is though, like I think I've heard of is it Maggie?
Maggie, yeah.
Apparently that's a weekly one as well.
Yeah, it's part of the Shonen Sunday series. I think it might have finished, but it is a great read. I do must say. So I think the first time it came out was 2015, if I'm not wrong. It's either 2015 or 2016.
I think you can buy that first issue, I think, very cheaply on Amazon. I think it's very cheap on Amazon.
Yeah. Or either that or W.H. Smith. That's pretty much where I got most of these from, actually, W.H. Smith.
I got a lot of my comics from Amazon. I've got one of my favourite comics I got from the Forbidden Planet in London. It's it's one of my favourite superheroes, and it's one of my favourite comic book series. And I mean, when we get to it, when I tell you about it, it will blow your mind. It is a must read.
I'm looking forward to seeing it. I'm sure everyone.
Yep, we move on to the next one.
All right. This series, I have 6 volumes of it.
I've heard about this.
And this is basically like every horny teenager's weird dream sort of thing.
Yeah, so this was your teenager dream.
This is from this is from season 2. There is the season 1 manga. I haven't read them, but I don't actually have the hard copies of them, which I do want to get. I'm not going to actually show anything. I just want to show off the artwork in it. We
have to keep this. We have to keep this at least a rated 15, not 18.
What it's basically about is this boy that joins a high school, and he doesn't realize that the high school is actually a monster high school, and that everyone on there apart from him is monsters, and obviously monsters like to eat humans. But he actually manages to befriend a vampire, the vampire girl, and manages to befriend a whole lot of other female monsters for some reason, because they're attracted to humans. They're like succubi, ice fairies. What is it? What else was it? Other mummies, other vampires. And
this just I'm not being horrible. This just sounds like a weird porno. That's what it just sounds like.
It just makes it into a whole like harem of like monster girls. Imagine that. No one would want to fuck with you.
That'd be true. No one would want to mess with you. But that reminds me of an anime. I can't think of what it's called. High School XD.
DxD.
Yes, that reminds me very much of that.
I'm very guilty of that because that is
because you're the one that introduced it to me.
Third favorite anime in the world.
Because
I know people say ecchi anime. Ecchi is like explicit rated sort of anime, adult rated anime. I know they say it's for the plot, but that one actually has plot, like actual storyline that you can follow.
But it's pretty much. It's pretty much
every like 2 seconds or 20 seconds that you turn around is like boobs or like arse or like thighs, and
it's pretty explicit.
References, innuendos.
So we move on. Should we move on to the next one?
Especially considering the fact that the main protagonist's dream is to have a harem and to make sure he can touch as many boobs as he can.
God.
Yeah, let's move on.
Let's move on.
Next manga series
is The Blue Exorcist.
Blue Exorcist. Now, this series contains my favorite character. I have a favorite anime, favorite manga, favorite like childhood manga, favorite anime, and I have like a favorite character as well. They're all separate, believe it or not. See, it's about this character called Rin, and he is the son of the devil, and he placed him on the world so you can basically use him as a portal, as a way to take over the plane of Earth. And what he does, he joins an exorcist academy as he ends up being taken care of by a priest, a high priest. And what he does is, after the priest dies because the devil actually possessed him, he ends up joining the academy and wants to kill his own father, who is Satan. It's a must read. I say you very much enjoy it. Yeah. Also, the artwork in this, it's beautiful, actually beautiful. Let me just find the double page spread that I was looking for. It's so amazing to see. If I can, there we go. I mean, just look at the detail in that.
That detail, that probably took someone 4 or 5 hours just to do that.
Oh, more for sure. It's not only the detail, the perspective of all of that is amazing. Yeah, I'm a big weeb when it comes to anime and manga and stuff like that. But it's just been in my life for so long. I kind of can't help it. But I definitely recommend you to start reading or watching it, because there's some stories out there that will blow your mind.
There's stories that will blow your mind.
There's an anime for every person, no matter who it is.
Oh yeah, like
comic book.
It's like, for me, Sword Art Online was my anime. Like, is my anime. Like, it was the one that I found the most interesting, the most fun. Because I'm that type of guy that likes role-playing games.
Yeah,
I'm that type of guy that I love like fictional.
Well, to be fair, games have been part of our lives since like a young age.
Oh yeah,
quite a young age.
Like games like Skyrim, Dragon Age, Witcher, like the Witcher series. They were all games that I played, and I love them to bits. It's something that someone goes to me, "Oh, what type of series do you play?" I will just literally just say 3 games, and that is it.
Okay. Both mentioned the first console we've had, like the first ever console in 3, 2, 1.
Nintendo 64.
Nintendo 64. Yes.
Nintendo 64. I had a Nintendo 64 when I was a young kid. That's one of the first game consoles I had.
I remember. Well, I was actually 6 when I first started playing on the Nintendo 64, and I was playing Super Mario all day. And you remember you have like those 200 games plus cartridges all in one.
Yes.
You have like Mario. There's a time when they joined with Sonic, I think it was, and
Yeah,
then
they
there
did
was
some crossover. Yeah.
Bomberman. What else was it? There was like running Olympics games. There was a baseball game. Yeah, oh my god, childhood.
There was so much. Right, should we move on to your last? Is it your last manga?
Last series, yes, last manga series. Now this one, I actually have like the 3-in-1 volume of, and it is the one that I enjoyed the story the most, and I think is like best from like start through the middle to the end. It's like the story is impeccable, and that is Full Metal Alchemist. It'll be Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood though that I'm talking about, because there is the Full Metal Alchemist and there's Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. The first one not that great. Second one is actually brilliant. It's the remake of it, and this is the Full Metal Alchemist. What's the story is about two brothers that live in a world that is basically the driving power of the world is alchemy, and they are the sons of a really good alchemist. About spoiling, and they lose their father. He ends up running out on them, and they lose their mother at a really young age. So what they try to do is they commit the ultimate taboo of alchemy, which is human transmutation, which is basically trying to bring someone back from the dead or performing some alchemy on a living being. And they end up, because of that, the names are heard throughout the country, and they end up being visited by the military, and they end up joining the military in search of a philosopher's stone, because as a result of them actually doing the human transmutation, they had to pay a really big price. One of the brother, this is the younger brother, but this is the older brother.
Oh, so the younger brother gets stuck. I think he gets stuck in a suit, doesn't he?
Suit of armor. He ends up losing his body, and his older brother has to bind his soul to a suit of armor, so he doesn't actually sleep, eat, or do anything. He's practically immortal, but I'll let you.
It's something. So, yeah, something you have to read.
What his older brother did is he lost his left leg or right leg, I think it was left leg, and left arm. He lost his left leg as a result of the transmutation, but his left arm, no, right arm even, but as a result of trying to bring back his brother. So he sacrificed his arms for his brother to be able to keep him alive, basically.
Okay, that's something that as I said, we'll leave the links down in the description. Something that I'd say you have to read.
Yeah, it's like a hard hitting story as well, because it touches on like subjects about like being there for your family, and the people who don't have the family, the people outside of your family. You know how you have like people so close that you consider family. You don't even have to be blood related.
That you can go up to that person and be like, "You're my family," even though that we're not blood related. I still will class you as family.
Yeah, exactly. And that's it for now. That's the collection I've got here. If I manage to get the ones from my from my place in Farnham, I'll be able to show you, but more in future episodes maybe. Let us know in the comments below if you want me to do so. And yeah, I'll let you get on with your showcase, because I can see you waiting there patiently. I want to show them.
Right, so now we move on to my style. We move on to comic books and graphic novels. Yeah. So I've done the exact same thing. I've basically piled them into the best of my favorite, from my most, like, the ones that I will have to say is 100% must read to. It's still, all the comics here are must read, but the way that I favorite them. So
before you start, I want to say, both me and you, I don't really read comics, and you don't really read mangas, but we both really enjoy reading them either way.
yeah,
So like it's good to not only read manga but also read like comics.
yeah, it's always
Make
good.
sure
It's
there's the
always
different media.
yeah, it's always good. Like I've got some manga here where I live. Let me see if I've got one. Let me see if I've got one. I have.
Especially if you're interested in like stuff like story development for animation, manga, or if
got,
you're interested in becoming an artist and all that.
I've got a pile of it. So I've got
Mm.
I've got the Sword Art Online.
Yeah.
I've got my Attack on Titan here. I've got some really random anime that I got given. Like a friend of mine was getting rid of some anime, and I got given it. It's from. I'm not going to show on camera because some of this is not age appropriate. It's not.
Are you sure it's not hentai?
No, it's anime. It's just like I call the title out.
It's an art form.
It's called Dead Man's Wonderland.
Dead Man's Wonderland. Actually, that even though it might not seem age appropriate, but it's actually a very, very good story.
I have not read it yet.
Interesting. It's gory. It's very gory. Actually, it's very real.
Yeah, but the front page, I can't.
Fantasy world.
I can't even show you the front cover of it. I can't even show you the front cover.
Show maybe a couple of pages that you flip through and see, just so they can see the art style, maybe.
So it'd be something like that. The art style's like that.
Put it a little bit backwards. Yeah.
It's nice art style. But so we'll start with the comic books now.
Yeah.
So we start off with a classic Marvel comic book. So there's a major difference in the comic book world, because in the comic book world, there's film adaptations.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the comics I've got is been adapted for film. And it is Marvel's Civil War.
Oh. You know what? I still haven't watched the full Civil War movie.
Here it is. Let me just move my mic back a bit so you can actually see. There we go. So what this is actually the proper Civil War story, because the one in the film is not actually the right story. It was made for, like, it was the films were made for films. Like in the comic books, it's more violent. It's got a very big, like,
more age appropriate and for the audience.
Yeah, because in this one there is a lot of deep thoughts about government rights, government control over people, and it even has. I'm not going to spoil it, but there is a major death in the comic book, which, if you've been reading Marvel comics, you will know about, because Civil War has a major death in it, and it will link in with other, like this happened back in like 2011, the Civil War comic, and I loved reading it. It was very hard hitting. I will say it's like one of the hard hitting animes. This was very hard hitting. It made you think about a lot of things when reading this. So we move on to the next one. This is a classic. Everyone will know who this guy is. It is Spider-Man. It is the Amazing Spider-Man series, in which, in this series, it basically, Spider-Man's been reinvented multiple times, as people know. I'll show you a little bit of the artwork. It's been, like, the storyline's been reinvented so many times.
Did you used to watch Spider-Man a lot as a kid?
Yes, I used to watch the Spider-Man TV series. I watched the films. Here we go. Here's some of the artwork. Let me just put it like that. It's going to be a bit of it's going to be in front of the mic, but there we go. It's like that art style. It's really decent art style.
One thing I like about comics a little bit more than manga is that they actually include color in it.
Yes,
well.
There's a lot of, it's very vibrant. But yes, this is a must read. If, let's say, it's your first time getting into reading Spider-Man, this is probably not the best way to start, because this is a long way in. But if you go on like Amazon and search up Spider-Man Volume 1, like there'll be loads of issues because there's been so many reboots, the exact same story, but just different arts, like different people doing this, like some little changes. But if you already know who Spider-Man is and you already like know most of the story, this is definitely a good start because this one is the beginning of the end for Peter Parker. This series is most people who've read comic books will know that Peter Parker does die, especially if you've seen the film Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. You all know that Peter Parker.
Spoilers. No, I'm joking.
It's been like 2 years.
It's been years.
I don't care. So basically, at the end of this series, we find out how Peter dies. And in this particular one, it includes the free comic book day from 2018, which was Amazing Spider-Man, which is actually the front cover. It's very, it's reflective because it's shiny. It's shiny,
glossy.
But yes, this is definitely a read. If you're into the Spider-Man, if you're into more of the classic characters, Spider-Man's a good read. So we move on to the next one. This is, if you're into the Marvel Netflix TV series, you will 100% already know this. This is Daredevil. This is the Man Without Fear. This is 100% a good read.
Let me ask, because I remember you saying something about it. Who is your favorite Marvel character?
It will have to be Daredevil.
Daredevil.
It is my favorite Marvel character is Daredevil, for the fact is that it's very unique. And his character is a unique character. The way that his life is very unique. It's not something you can replicate with another character. Like Matt Murdock is an ultimate character.
I think it's quite interesting as well, because he's actually classified as like a disabled sort of person.
I'm not. He
one
is
of the first disabled characters.
He is one of the first disabled characters out there, because we're not going to say why, because you have to read it to understand, like to get the whole thing. But yes, he is a disabled character, and yes, this comic book, this specific one, is a reinvention of him. So there was a comic book when it first brought out, explained how he became Daredevil, and that was a good origin. But this origin here is where they get where Netflix get their idea from, like their origin from is from
where it's based from.
And it actually has, there is actually a page in which, let me get it. There's actually a page in which he actually wears the suit from the Netflix series. Let me get it for you. Let me find it, because it is in here somewhere. Here it is. So this is part of his iconic suit. He's missing the eye bandana and the heavy gloves, but still, it's.
I've watched the series, but I haven't actually read the comics, so it's quite interesting for me as well.
It's 100% worth reading. It's something. This is the last Marvel one that I'm going to be showing, but this is 100% worth it. This one's a must buy if you're into if you're into great story development. Daredevil, Man Without Fear is a brilliant story development.
Yeah.
Okay, so we move on to the next one. This is the one that I got from Forbidden Planet, the one I was saying about. This is one that I would say it's 100% must read. If you're into ideas of, like, if you're into the stories of, like, people being brought back from the dead and how the dead can be villainous, then it will be one of the most famous DC comic book series out there. It is Green Lantern, The Blackest Night Saga. This is one of my favorite comics. I found it when I was when I went on a trip to London and I went to the Forbidden Planet. I found this. This was the comic book that I wanted. I could have chosen anything, but no, I had to choose this one, because this one is basically the Green Lantern. Basically, there is different color rings for different aspects. So hope, will, love, greed, and anger. But the black ring is death. So the Black Ring brings anyone back from the dead and turns them into mindless monsters that hunt and try and kill everyone.
Tell you where I remember that from is from the cartoon series. I think it was I can't remember what it was called. Like the original Green Lantern cartoon series. I used to watch that a lot as a kid.
In the original Green Lantern cartoon series, they did bring this up, but this is the best read, one of the best reads I've read. I literally.
Do you remember? This might bring out some memories for a lot of you. There's this special channel that is no longer available on TV.
If you're thinking of the channel that I'm thinking of, then yes, I used to watch the hell out of it.
We all know about Cartoon Network, but the real OG was Jetix.
Yes. That's where, when I was younger, that's where you'd find all the suit. That's why you find all the Batmans, the Spider-Mans, the Supermans, the Green Lanterns.
What I found cool about it, they had a lot of like anime stuff as well. That's where I used to watch Naruto. It's where I used to watch Pokemon.
Everything.
Yeah, there was Dragon Ball Z from time to time on there. Such a good channel. Such a good channel.
I will show you a bit of the artwork. It's like this, for example. This is one of the, like, when you think about, like, what you saw, a double page spread. Imagine this.
Wow.
Imagine that.
The detail on that.
It is literally, you see every muscle. There is no muscle that you can't see. It is literally one of the greatest comic books I've read. I love it. It's Green Lantern. It even has the Flash in it. One of the best superheroes. It has a lot of drama. It's basically a lot of characters who have died in the comic book series. So a lot of people that you might know, a lot of people that have died come back to life because of the Black Rings, and it is a must read.
Yeah.
I will say, if you're new into reading comic books, I would say this would be one of your first. I'd read the first Green Lantern Volume 1 just to get to understand what. If you don't know what the Green Lantern is, read it, but then jump straight to this, because this,
sure.
When I first read it, I knew some of the deaths, but I didn't know all of them. But when I found out they're dead, and then found out that how they come back to life because of the Black Rings, it blew my mind. And there is a very big character from the DC universe that has died that is brought back to life in this.
And that will be...
I am not going to spoil it.
Actually, no, let's not spoil it.
But it is a very big character, and it's worldwide known who this guy is.
Actually, comment down below who's your favorite character from the Green Lantern series, or even DC or Marvel, or manga, in fact.
Yeah, and then we move on. Oh, sorry, my side's just falling apart. Now I move on to my personal favorite character. This is a character that I've loved for a long time. I was first introduced to him when I was around 10, when I was reading a Green Lantern comic, which it was because Green Lantern did a crossover series with the Green Arrow. So that's when I was first introduced. And then when I was around 11, Warner Brothers and CW, the people that made Supernatural and Riverdale TV series, decided to bring out the Arrow TV series, which is basically the Green Arrow. It stars Stephen Amell, David Ramsey, and my God, it is one of the best TV series. It's literally on the top of it's the top list of my recommended. And I recently was able to purchase a Green Arrow comic. I've already got classic Green Arrow comics, but I was able to grab one of the new Rebirth Green Arrows.
Mm-hmm.
And this is Volume 1. I'm planning to get Volume 2 and 3 because I love this story. Basically, this is the Green Arrow, but this is more stylized like the TV series. Because in the original, he looks like Robin Hood, but in the new Rebirth series, he looks more like the TV series Green Arrow. And I love it. I will show you a page, and I literally, to prove that this, when you see Arrow, it's not always funny. It's very dark, and But in the comic books, there is a page that proves that it's funny. And it is this scene here, on the side here.
Yeah.
If you have a quick read.
Yeah. I can't read.
So I'll read it to you. She said, so basically what it is that Black Canary thinks that Green Arrow is dead. He's just arrived to save her. And she's going up to him and he's thinking, oh, she's going to kiss me on the lips. And he's all like, and she properly slaps him hard. And I mean, she properly smacks him. And she starts screaming at him saying, where was my phone call? I thought you were dead. Where's my phone call? And then on the next page, she makes up for slapping him by planting a massive kiss on him.
A stud.
But yes, the CW universe, the Green Arrow is my favorite comic book hero. I'm sorry, but I'm more of a DC guy than a Marvel guy.
So would you say you prefer Green Arrow to Daredevil?
Yeah. Green Arrow is more of a character that I can get behind. Like, he starts off as like a rich billionaire playboy type guy, then gets shipwrecked on an island, and it changes him to become someone that fights for justice and stuff. But now this is a special treat for you guys that people didn't realize that I've actually brought some classic comic books in for you guys.
Cool.
So let me get them out. I brought some classics with me. They're hidden in a folder here. So we'll start off. We'll leave one of them to last because it's not a special. It's a special one, but it's not an old one. It's a new one, but it's still very special. So we'll start off with one of my. It's my favorite villain of any comic book universe. Yep. I love this villain. It's one of my favorites. It is Deathstroke, the Terminator. And yeah, on the front page, it's not even Deathstroke; it's someone else. But this was done in 1992. This was released in the UK. That's how I got it because certain comic books were released in the UK, certain comic books weren't.
Yeah, there's like UK editions, there's US editions. This
is the international version. So this was the US version, everything, and it even has it even mentions on the back cover that Batman's returning because for a bit Batman disappeared. But I'll get it out and I'll show you the art style because the art style's completely changed. Like when I was a kid, like I used to read comic books like this when I was a kid, not like comic books I have here, like where it's plastic covering. It was paper. It was all paper. Let me get a big scene for you. Here we go. Where he dresses up in his classic outfit.
Yeah.
Like
a lot of people would say he's quite similar to Deadpool, isn't it?
Now this is a funny story. So, did you know that Deadpool is just a rip-off of Deathstroke?
Really?
Yes. So Deathstroke.
I can see that.
Deathstroke was released way before they even came up with the idea of Deadpool, and Marvel were like, "We need something like Deathstroke. We need Deadpool was supposed to be a villain at the beginning, but because people loved him, they turned him into an anti-hero." But
I do like that about Deadpool.
But yeah, so basically, before DC and Marvel had the big rivalry, one day the creator of Deathstroke was meeting with the creator of Deadpool, and he showed him his idea. And the creator of Deathstroke said, "You've basically just copied Deathstroke. Basically just copied everything I've done." And the guy was like, "Yeah." And they published it, but they changed his name to Deadpool instead of Deathstroke, and they changed his outfit. But but Marvel did give a nod to DC, and they try to make it continuity. They try to make a continuity link between DC and Marvel. Well, Deadpool.
It's a direct representation of here's my homework. You can use it, but just change it up a little bit.
Yeah, pretty much. That's what happened back then. Like you could do that. It pretty much these days you did that. You couldn't do it, but back then it pretty much could be like, oh, I've changed it slightly.
Right,
But Deathstroke's name is Slade Wilson. Deadpool's name is Wade Wilson.
Road Wilson.
They've both got the same surname. So basically, the reason they did that was because they wanted to try and make it link and give a nod to DC's Deathstroke.
Oh. I'm learning a lot about this now.
It's Deathstroke the Terminator series is still 100. It's 100% worth a read if you want to read into like how, because it shows him like Deathstroke in like Batman and all that is shown to be a bad guy. In the CW, he's shown to be a bad guy, but then it's shown the reason why he's a bad guy, and it makes you feel more understandable for the character. But the comic book series shows like he's not actually a fully bad guy. He's decent, and so we move on to another comic.
Actually, I really do like Deadpool as well as a character.
Deadpool's amazing as a character.
The one thing I really like about him, obviously, well, there's two things. One thing, he breaks the fourth wall.
Oh,
that's
every comic book that he's in, he breaks the fourth wall. They even did a whole comic book series called Deadpool Kills the Marvel Universe, in which they explain that he literally explains that he hears voices because he's breaking the fourth wall. He's literally listening to the readers. And it makes you feel so like, that's why he's such a popular character.
Yeah.
Like you feel so like you're so into it. Like you sit there and be like, you're like, he's breaking the fourth. The thing is though, most people didn't become aware of Deadpool until the movies. Like I'm gonna admit, I have heard of him, but I weren't like, I didn't know who he was. And then we went and watched it, and literally, it blew our minds. Like because literally, right, everyone would sit there and think, this is just gonna be another superhero film. This is gonna be like another Marvel film. No, from the get-go, it was just breaking every wall.
It broke. What's the Blockbuster?
Yeah. It broke a lot of records for blockbuster films, and then it broke a lot of cinema records. Like, because I work at cinema, it broke the cinema record. It's still one of the highest rated films. Like when it first was released. Like, do you remember when we went to watch it? We went to watch it at Odeon, and we went in, and literally it was packed. And literally every seat was packed, and literally you'd sit there, and he'd make a joke about. He'd make a joke, and everyone on the screen was laughing. Not a single person was not laughing.
Yeah,
it's it's an iconic film, and it's bringing different generations together.
Yeah, another thing I like about Deadpool is that his character, the way they portray him, like he's an anti-hero. He's not he's not a villain. He's not a hero. He's somewhere in the middle. He's like relatable because obviously he does bad things, but for good reasons. It kind of gives
it's like the whole series where he kills everyone. He does it for a good reason. Like there's a good reason behind it.
Yeah, like realistically, a lot of bad people, bad characters. Like the stereotypical thing is the character is bad because he just wants to do bad things. Like, inherently bad.
Yeah, like back in the the 60s and 70s, like a lot of comic book characters that it'd be like Lex Luthor, like Deathstroke. All these characters would have like bad character. Like Silver Surfer from the Marvel Universe was a bad guy, but then
Joker.
But then when now these days, like the comic books are now trying to go, okay, but why is he bad? What event has made him bad? Like Joker, like the storyline apparently is that there's different storyline. One of the storylines is that when he was younger, his dad was physically and mentally abusive towards him, and one day he came home. Yeah,
go for it. Sorry.
Yeah, he came home drunk, and he decided to say to his son, "Why aren't you laughing?" and all that, and decided to cut his lips, and that's how he got the scars. And that's where the movies come in with Heath Ledger. He portrayed that version of the Joker, which was Oscar worthy, and he did win an Oscar, I believe, for the role.
Yeah.
I think he was the first and only person to win an Oscar for playing a villain.
I don't think anyone can actually beat Heath Ledger for Joker.
Oh no! Literally at the moment, because I'm back to work at the cinema, like The Dark Knight Rises is playing, like they're playing that film, and there's people, their seats are selling out for it because it's Heath Ledger. Like it's a long film, but people are willing to watch it on the big screen to see Heath Ledger. Come on. Imagine seeing him on screen doing the famous clap in the cell.
Yeah.
It's just almighty. Comic books are very good.
I was saying it kind of links to one of my from Naruto. Final character like this. Okay, my favorite character from Naruto. I don't think he's actually in this volume. No, he's not. But my favorite character from Naruto is Itachi Uchiha. So what his backstory is he's part of he's part of a clan that is the most powerful clan in the Leaf Village, which is where the story is set at first. And at first he's portrayed as like an evil character, as a bad character. However, as the story progresses, you understand that he had actual motives for his actions. Because what he did is at the start of the story, we are taught that he murdered his whole clan, like everybody in the clan except his brother, because and he left his brother out of fun. So like that sort of sadistic ideology. However, as the story progresses, you understand that his actual reasoning behind leaving his brother is because he cared for his brother a lot, and one of his father's last wishes was for him to take care of his brother Sasuke. And his reason for actually killing the clan was that the Hokage, the leader of the Leaf Village, was planning to start a war with the Uchiha clan, but actually he gave Itachi a choice to either assassinate the clan and leave his brother alive, or completely wipe it out with the power of the Leaf Village. So it kind of it shows that there's deeper thoughts rooted in the character that actually haunt him into like making those decisions, and it connects you with the character and makes you sympathize with even though he's technically a bad character, you sympathize with him.
Yeah, that's what I love about these type like manga and comics, that they make you feel for the bad guys sometimes. And like some people are like, oh, you shouldn't feel for bad people, but at the end of the day, everyone has a story. There's a reason why they've done bad. Even if they're just pure insane, there's still something behind the reason why they're pure insane. But we'll get through the last 3 comic books, and then we'll wrap it up for the day.
Let's have a look.
So we have a comic book from 1989. This is one of the oldest ones I have, and it's Firestorm. Most people don't know who this superhero is. It's basically during an experiment, a scientist and a normal guy were fused together by radiation and nuclear material, radiation from it, and they fused to become Firestorm. Let me just try and get it out the light so you can see it. There we go.
How old is that one?
This is from 1989.
Wow.
It is an old one. It even has the approved of the comic book code authority, which, if you know about comic books, basically sometime in the 50s where comic books started to become a bit non-PG, this had to be put on the comic books to say that that they were approved and they were suitable for reading. Okay. It's a very interesting fact. Then we move on. As I said, I've got more Green Arrow stuff, so the next ones are all just Green Arrow.
Yeah.
So I have a famous comic book series from Green Arrow, and it is very old. It's from 1987, so this is the oldest comic book I have. This is Mike Grell's Green Arrow's Longbow Hunters. Ooh. So the art style is completely different.
Completely different. Yeah.
This is a hardback copy. It's not like proper hardback, but it's like a hard paper. But yeah, the artwork is completely different.
The Rising Sun.
Yeah, it's got the Rising Sun. And this one even sold in the United Kingdom.
No?
This was only sold in America and Canada.
Oh, wow.
I was able to get this from a seller who sold at car boot sales ages ago in my local area, and I was able to get this from him.
Yeah.
But yes,
That's why I like comic sales. You can find some really interesting stuff there.
You can find a lot, but this is one of the most. This is volume 2. I need to get volume 1 and volume 3. But yeah, this is one of the oldest ones. Now I move on. The last one I've got is a very special one because this. So as I said, I mentioned Arrow, the TV series. As people know that I love it, and as I've said multiple times, I will always say I love it. They basically, during a couple of the seasons, they did comic books for them. And they called them, like, they did, like, season 1.5, season 2.5, season 3.5, stuff like that. And I was able to get a hand on one of them. This was from October 2015. And it even says, from the world of the CW TV show. This is volume 11, and this was only sold in America.
Wow. So you actually managed to get your hands on that?
Yep. So this is Arrow season 2.5.
That's some movies.
And it actually has Stephen Amell dressed up as the Green Arrow or the Hood or the Vigilante, as the people like to call him. But yes, this is just a filler. There's not much of you seeing him wearing the costume and all that. This is just like a mini story because this is a whole season. So there's a whole season of it. This is just a filler one. But yeah, this is for all the Arrow fans that like it. I even got let me have a look. I think I've got it somewhere here. Just move my laptop a little bit. Just move
in the DC universe, is there like a show or a series that's famous for filler episodes?
Yes, there is. It is Arrow.
Yeah.
Basically,
famous one for the
in all the comic, like in each episode, there's a different person to fight and all that. But some of the episodes they'll have parts of like the main story arc in it, but there's some episodes that are literally just take a break from the main story arc. Like Flash, the CW Flash is 100% known for having some episodes where it's just like, oh, the storyline, we just need to calm the story down a little bit, have a little bit of breather, then get back to it.
Yeah.
But I even have the Arrow. I even got Arrow on DVD. This is season 5. I have got season 1 to 4, but I don't know where they are at the moment. But I've got Arrow.
Wait, let me show you something that I've got here. That I've kept purely because of because it was part of like from when I was in Bulgaria, like childhood. When I say Yu-Gi-Oh was the first ever thing like anime I watched, this is the first ever anime I had on on a disc. Do you remember?
Oh my god, Yu-Gi-Oh GX! Yes, I remember.
GX. This is like the Bulgarian version of the anime as well.
That's cool.
Yeah, I have like 28 of these discs. I used to collect them so much.
No, I'm planning to start to collect all the CW, so all the Flash, the Arrows. I'm trying to collect all of them. But yes, if you're a comic book fan and you're into the TV series, I'd say watch the CW universe. So watch the Arrow, the Flash, Supergirl, DC Legends of Tomorrow, and the new series, Batgirl. And if you have Netflix, I would advise you to watch Black Lightning.
Yeah, I started watching it.
That is linked into the CW now. It's it basically, basically Arrow's ended, so there's no more seasons of Arrow. There's 8 seasons of Arrow. The Flash and everyone else is still continuing, but Arrow's just unfortunately over. It's been the longest running one. It was like Supergirl and Flash and all that. They're only on season 6. Like Arrow's 2 seasons ahead.
Yeah. Wow.
But yeah, so I'd watch them. The movies I'm not too keen on, but the TV series I am. So yeah, if you're going to read comic books, like if you're going to read something, I would 100% say buy Green Arrow. Read it. If you're into something that's got a bit of humor, a bit like it has a lot of action in, 100%.
This is not sponsorship.
No, it's not 100.
if Marvel or DC or anybody wants to sponsor us, you're very, very welcome.
Oh, 100%. Like if they said to, if DC like emailed me tomorrow saying, hey, look, we want to sponsor you, we want to get the Green Arrow comic book to sponsor you, it'd be a dream come true. Like literally go on Twitter. Like if you have Twitter or Instagram, like hashtag get413 sponsored by DC.
Yeah.
Literally use the hash. Create a hash. Yeah, let's use the hashtag get413 podcast sponsored by DC. That's a mouthful.
But let's do it. We can do it.
We can do it. Right, I think that's where we can end it today.
Yeah, I think that's a good spot to end it at.
Yeah, I think that is. Well, hang on. Let's do one more little section, like a little bit of a section. Let's just talk about some news stories, that have popped up, stuff like that over the day. So So I've been watching the news. Have you been watching the news?
Yeah, lately a little bit. Yeah.
So let's start with some headlines from the news. So we've had that a famous Glee actress. I can't pronounce her name, but she played Satana on Glee. Her body was found after renting a boat, going into a lake, and unfortunately drowned. Her body was recovered, and they said that there was no signs of like foul play or anything like that. It was just an accidental drowning. So that's some news to hear. Because I recently, like the last 2 years, I started watching Glee, and to hear that, it was really sad.
Yeah, I literally watched it because of my ex, but
so did I. Didn't quite. We can join that club of our ex made us watch Glee. Put your hand up, yeah, that's part of that club. But right, we move on. Trump has pretty much nearly started a war with China.
Shit.
Yeah,
2020, everybody.
2020. Trump's it's very in the news quite recently. But the biggest story that the second story after that one is the Jada Smith, Will Smith's wife, the incident of the cheating, or not the cheating, as I should say.
What do you think about it? What do you think about it?
I don't know what to think, because personally, it's on the line of cheating and all that, because personally what I look at it is they were together, they said their relationship pretty much over, but they were still married, and she went off and had a relationship with a younger person. There's nothing wrong with that. The point is that they had a relationship, they ended the relationship, she got back with Will, but it's taken him to come out saying, look, we had a relationship. And she was like, no, we just had a thing. And he was like, no, we had a full sexual relationship. And she was like, yeah. And she was like, yeah. And she finally came out going, yeah. And she came out. She apparently came out. She came out live on a Facebook chat show with Will at the table saying, yeah, I had a relationship with someone. And like the updates from this is that Will, apparently there's two sides to the story. Apparently Will is really distraught. Apparently he's not himself. Apparently he's really...
he would be.
And then the weird part is he takes her on a holiday to Barbados.
But I guess the odd thing about that is just because it happened years ago and it's only just being brought up now. I think that's the weird thing about them, because they're still together.
It's a weird thing.
They've just gotten over it, I reckon, at this point, because it's been years.
Yeah, but the thing is, though, he only apparently Will's only found out on the podcast. That was the first time she openly admitted.
Yeah, that is probably had a relationship.
It must, like, for the guy to come out and admit it, that's a big thing.
Well, what was his name? August?
It's August.
What his name? Well, he came out with a statement saying that they were actually in a relationship.
And then she started denying it, and then he said, no, it happened, and then she said, oh, we had an entanglement, and he was like, no, it was a full-fledged relationship. And then like fans, like people were properly pressuring her to be honest, and she finally was honest.
Being devil's advocate and all, technically they were separated. So, but at the same time, you think of it this way. Imagine Will was the one who cheated.
I'm sorry, but the way I see
the media would be a whole lot different. Yeah. If she had to sit there and watch him say what she said, her entitlements, as people say it, the media will be going crazy. He'll have sponsorships that would be getting taken down. He would have like contracts cancelled. His name would be torn down.
Yeah,
torn to
literally.
shreds.
That's what I say and think. Not being horrible, but the way that the society is that it's one thing for one person, one thing for other. Because it's true. Jade has not had her, like, his wife has not had anything, like, nothing's happened of it. Like, she's just, people are just saying it's wrong. But if it was Will Smith, literally, he would have been cut from Suicide Squad 2. He would have been cut from Men in Black. He'd have all his ties cut.
Yeah.
But,
I mean, fair enough. But what I'm saying is it should be equal for both sides.
yeah, it should be.
Yeah.
Right, we're going to move on to our last news story. This was a big one. This only happened yesterday.
What is this?
The big Twitter scandal in which a load of Twitter accounts from famous people had them hacked. So people,
I actually haven't heard about this one.
So people like Obama, Trump, Apple, Nike, all these big accounts, a lot of celebrities had their accounts hacked, saying that they were going to give, I think it was 100,000 of Bitcoins away to people.
Really?
Yeah. That all these companies had their, like, even a wrestling company like WWE had their Twitter account hacked.
Wow.
Like, this was a major thing. It was all over the news. Literally, I finished at 11 o'clock last night, and I got home, and literally all over my YouTube, all over my news feeds, is Twitter gets hacked, celebrities get hacked, Obama's been hacked, and I'm like, oh, it's like a load of celebrities, and it's all about Bitcoin. But apparently, they're trying to get Bitcoin off celebrities to give away to people, and it is mad. Even Elon Musk got hacked. Uber got hacked.
Yeah. Have you heard the story about you know how Trump is trying to ban TikTok?
Yes.
Right. So what TikTok did in response?
Hang on, isn't this the story in which TikTok users got really frustrated with Trump, and they decided to go on the App Store and go to his app and rate it,
leave loads of one star.
Because the way the app stores work is that if you get below 1 star, they have to remove your app.
Yeah.
And I think it's at 1.4 stars. Last time I heard,
it was 1.2 last time I saw it.
Oh man, it's going down.
It's gonna go down.
But yeah, that is the biggest. These are the biggest stories that are happening. Like, but then there is another one that's sad. That unfortunately, the second wave of Corona is on its way.
Yeah, for people living in the UK and US, we're fucked.
Or COVID-19 or the pandemic, whatever you want to call it, because I know YouTube demonetized videos that say the certain words. But the point is that the government's saying that there is a second wave on its way. So what I say to you, ladies and gentlemen, is just be careful when you go out. Make sure you wear face masks. Make sure that you're at least 1 meter apart. And please,
at least 2, in fact, just try to keep it.
Yeah, try and 1 meter by law. It's 1 meter, but try and keep 2 meters apart. And try and do your part. If you're gonna go out, please wear a mask, because wearing a mask saves lives, stops the transmission. Yeah. It saves a load of people, because at the moment the death rate is so high, and because
on the 24th. There's a law being passed that people will now actually have to wear masks in shops, which is very good. I do agree with it, but I think it's a little bit late.
It's a bit late. It is a bit late, but at least we can say better than late.
But it should have been introduced way earlier into the pandemic.
Yeah, as they say, it's better late than never.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, because it's wearing masks saves lives, so please wear a mask when you go into a shop. It's going to be mandatory anyway, and if you don't, you get fined. But the problem is, please just, when you go out in the public, just wear your mask and just be aware of your surroundings.
Yeah. If
you don't feel well and you have any symptoms of the COVID, please get yourself tested.
And isolate yourself.
Yeah, isolate, and because it is going to save more lives. Then we're going to save a lot more lives, and we need that at the moment.
Yeah. But
that is some bad. Let's try and find something to end lightly on. I'm trying to think. I'm trying to think.
Well, 2020 was such a big shock.
Yeah, 2020 has been a big shock. Like for me, a lot has happened in 2020. I mean, a lot has happened. Like my life, basically 2019 was the peak of my life. 2020 is it literally is gone from here all the way down to like minus like 1,000. My life's been like that.
Well, there's been good stuff coming out of 2020
yeah, there's
as well.
been some good, but I've seen people come together. I've seen people come together.
Yeah, for Black Lives Matter.
Yeah, that was a great movement. If you're interested in our thoughts on that, go look at our first podcast. That is already, as you already know, is live. We talk about that. That is a very interesting topic we talk about.
Yeah, we made sure to talk about it in quite depth. If you want us to talk about it in more depth than we did in the last podcast, make sure to comment down below. We will include that in our next podcast.
Let's make it set right. If we get 100 likes on this video, we'll do a whole podcast dedicated to the Black Lives Movement. So we'll do an hour podcast, not a 2 hour like usual, but we do an hour podcast in which there's no Yu-Gi-Oh game, there's none of that. It's just a full-scale conversation, facts, talking about it.
Yeah, just to make sure you guys want to watch it.
Yeah, we have to get 100 likes. But let's leave it on something good. I started watching a cartoon again.
What cartoon is that?
I started watching Ed, Edd and Eddy again.
Ed, Edd and Eddy is such a blast of the past.
It is. I started, like, literally, when we were talking...
That's a blast of the past.
Was it in the last podcast we were talking about old TV shows we used to watch?
Actually, it was the podcast. There's this podcast, but we had to re-record it. So,
but basically, when we did the first one, we were talking about TV shows that we watched when we were younger, and we were talking about stuff like when I was a kid. Like I used to watch like the Basil Brush Show, like Ed, Edd and Eddy, the Looney Tunes.
I just watched Dennis and Asher.
Dennis and Asher.
Yeah.
The Story of Tracy Beaker.
Yeah.
Used to watch. What else did I watch when I was
Gone?
Like one film that I used to watch. Like this, most people won't know this film, but it was a very popular film when I was a kid. It was Bugsy Malone.
Bugsy Malone.
It's a film about basically, if you don't know what it is, it's basically a film about gangsters, but the whole cast is children. There's no adult in it. All the children play. It's a musical. It's a musical number, and literally, it's all kid cast. And the guns are actually pie guns, so it shoots pies like whipped cream.
Whipped cream pies.
No, it's literally it's like a Tommy gun, but it just shoots cream. It shoots cream. It's basically a 1920 gangsters, but for kids, and it's such a great film. I've got that on DVD. It was one of the first films I got when I was a kid on DVD. But yeah, like
there's another series that you might appreciate me mentioning.
Sorry about that. The video cut out before we could end everything. You literally were talking. You're about to say. You literally said Kib, and then the whole audio just cut. The whole thing cut out.
Yeah, it's Fallout technical difficulties.
Yeah, it'd be like technical difficulty screen.
Right. The show I was mentioning about is something that will bring back childhood memories. Kim Possible.
Oh my god, Kim Possible. Oh, I'm not gonna lie. That's probably 100% why I'm into ginger women.
Yeah, it's literally the reason why I'm into gingers, and also it's the reason why I have bad taste in women. Shigo was a bad bitch, and I stand.
No, I'm not gonna lie. Like when I was a kid, like when you're a kid, like she was like one of the most attractive like cartoon. Like I'm not gonna lie, when we were kids, a lot of cartoons were weirdly sexually like they were very sexual. A lot of cartoons when we were kids were very sexualized, and it was just like Like as a kid, you don't
You
see
get
it.
the views. It gets you the views.
Yeah, like when you're a kid, you don't realize it. But like when you look back at it, like there was cartoons from like the 70s and 80s and 90s where literally you had like cartoons of women
Right.
warrior princesses that literally wore like outfits that literally just covered like the boob, and literally you saw like down like the whole. You're like, as a kid, you're like, ah. But when you look at it now, you're like, that was deliberately done to interest the fans, especially the older male fans.
Or younger. Okay, well.
But so this is now the ending. We are going to end it now before the technical difficulty. So this has been the 413 podcast. We hope you enjoyed it. This has been Scott.
And Don Cheese. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And make sure to follow our Instagram and our new Facebook page, which should be up when this video goes up. And I hope you enjoyed the videos. And make sure to check our old one out as well. And thank you very much.
Yep, we'll leave a link in the description of all the mangas and the comic books we've described. And yeah, we hope you enjoyed it. And make sure you subscribe. Make sure you just set notifications on, so the next time one of our podcasts go live, you'll instantly
ring the bell, get notifications for when we post new videos, and that's it. And stay safe during this time. It's Corona and everything. Wear your masks, and that's it.
And we'll see you next time. Bye bye.
Bye bye.